What's up, A-Pushers? It's Mr. Imatsu coming with you with another video lesson review. This time we're going to go a little bit further into the exam so that you understand what the exam is exactly asking for and how this class is kind of structured around the purpose of passing the test. So as you know, the test is super important in this class. It can have a dramatic effect upon your grade at the end of the course. And then also, if you do pass this class with pass this test with a 3 or higher at a score of 1 to 5, you most likely will get college credit at a lot of universities. So definitely, we need to understand how the course is created or how the exam is created, and exactly what we're looking for. So as you can see here, we went ahead and we're using the same document as we did last time. We're just going a little bit further in. So this is after actually all those different key concept outlines. They kind of focus on the exam. So we're going to start with page 241. Remember that when we talk about page 241, we're talking about the numbers on the bottom here. So not here where your PDF file is, which is a little bit different. We're actually looking at the ones that are printed on the college course exam resource book. So we're going to page 241, which is a long scroll. So we're going to get down there. There's 243, and bam, we are now at 241. All right, so I want to show you guys exactly how it's structured. So on May 6th for the 2023 school year, but May 6th, 2023, this is the test that you'll be taking. And again, in future years, obviously different date, but test is going to be pretty much the same. So section 1 is going to have a part A and a part B. These are actually two separate parts, so they're not together. So you're going to do part A, which is going to be a total of 55 multiple choice questions in 55 minutes. So one question per minute. And it has a total of 40% of your exam. You'll see that these questions most likely have a stimulus involved, and then have usually anywhere from 2 to 4 questions, most likely 4, that relate to that what we call that stimulus. And that stimulus is what we call a primary source document or a secondary source document. So a primary source document is something written by a person right then and there. It could be like a journal, it could be a diary, it could be a newspaper, it could be jewelry, it could be an artifact like furniture or somebody etching it. It's something that's happening there. And secondary source is somebody interpreting those facts later, usually a historian, usually written after the fact. So if you see somebody in 2000 talking about the Civil War in 1865, then most likely that's a secondary source, right? Since they were not actually there. So you'll have a stimulus, and we'll kind of show you a couple of those type of questions when we get to the practice exam here in a second. But you're going to have a stimulus. That will be either a primary source or a secondary source, and anywhere from 2 to 4 questions. And those questions, remember, are going to probably relate to the historical thinking skills of causation, comparison, continuity, change, or time. And most likely, more than not, are going to be about causation. And we'll practice again a couple of questions down in the review to kind of show you that. You're also going to have some short answer questions. You're going to have 3 of them. You're actually going to have 4 of them, but all you have to do is you have a choice on questions 3 or 4 to do either 3 or 4. Everybody has to do question 1. Everybody has to do question 2, and there'll be 3 or 4. You'll choose one of those. Each of those questions have letters A, B, and C. So you're actually doing, in my opinion, a total of 9 different questions. It's just they all kind of relate to each other, and we'll show you that in a second. Question 1 and 2, which you will have to do for the short answer. One will be a secondary source. We talked about that. Usually a historian, somebody after the fact talking about something. And then a primary source, which is usually some kind of source from somebody that was happening during the actual event. Question 3 and 4 will not have a stimulus. And again, this is where you're going to start seeing period 1 and 2 in question 3 and period 9 in question 4. Remember that most of this class is focused on periods 3 through 8. You're going to get a couple questions on periods 1, 2, and 9 on part A, the multiple choice. And then in the short answer, question 3 will be about either part 1 or 2, period 1 or 2, or question 4 will be about period 9. Usually they kind of do like a comparison on these. So it's be period 1 and 2 in comparison to period 3, and then period 9 in comparison to period 8. But they could be all over the place, but usually that's what we see. Next, you're going to get so this is one part, 55 minutes for the multiple choice. After you get done with that, you'll have 40 minutes to do a total of 3 questions. Again, question 1 and 2, everybody does. Question 3 and 4, you get to choose. And then there'll be a break, and you'll have actually an hour and 40 minutes, 15 minutes of which you cannot actually begin writing. You can only theoretically read. We'll talk about how we'll use this strategically. So you have an hour and 40 minutes, 15 of minutes, which you can only focus on reading. And most of the time, I tell students you should probably be reading for about 25 to 30 minutes, to be quite honest. And we'll explain that as we get further into our DBQ lesson plan. But hour and 40 minutes to write a total of 2 different questions. Question 1, everybody throughout the entire world is going to have the same DBQ. So everybody's going to have the same question number 1. That's 25% of your grade. And then question 2, 3, and 4, it's going to be one of them. So you're going to choose whichever one. So you're going to have 2, 3, or 4. You're going to get a choice of one of those. And that's 15% of your grade. So again, our class, 35% of your grade is here and 25% of your grade is here to, again, mimic the exam. And then we have our period projects and classwork that kind of make up for the 40%. Obviously, the AP exam could care less. It does not matter about your classwork or your period project. This is how they're testing you to figure out what score you get. So hopefully that's a quick overview of what the actual structure of the test is going to be. We're going to take a look at page 243 now and take a little closer at section 1 and section 2. So again, section 1 has multiple choice, has 3 to 4 questions typically, 1 or more what we call stimulus that are secondary sources or primary sources. And you can read a little bit more here if you want to. The short answer has letters A, B, and C. Kind of just tells you about question 1, question 2, and the difference between question 3 and 4 here. Again, as we practice short answer, I kind of have like a 3 to 5 sentence template for you to make your life very easy. Section 2 is going to be the document-based question. This is the actual rubric. When we get to the 2021 DBQ lesson plan, which will be happening after periods 1 and 2, you will have a better understanding of the rubric and what they're looking for. But there's that section 2 part, and this is a long essay question, and this is the rubric that they're looking for and some more information. So I'm not going to go too far into that. If you want to spend some more time reading those different paragraphs, you can, because we're going to spend more time on each of these. And in fact, your first test of period 1 and 2, multiple choice test and short answer test, you're going to do these together as a group. You can do it as a big class. You can do it however you want. It's going to be open book, open note, open internet. Goal is hopefully to get 100%. So you're going to have a feeling of how to do these. At least actually the multiple choice. I don't know about the short answer yet. But so just give you an idea, we're going to ease into this class. You don't need to freak out. We don't need to scare ourselves. We're going to go ahead and practice multiple times before taking these classes, these tests for real. Another thing that we're going to take a look at is just lastly, page 247, just a run through for the test. Again, there's all types of different parts of this and there's so many pages of information here on this course and the exam description guide, but I'm kind of pointing out to the best parts of it in my opinion. So again, here we go, multiple choice. Notice that you'll have a stimulus. This is the Declaratory Act, which was passed by Parliament in 1766. So I would consider this a primary resource. Why? Because it's been written during that time. It was an actual act that happened. And so here you have following contributed. I see causation here, right? Like which of the following caused this to law to be passed? All right. That immediately led to this, another effect. Like, well, okay, so now that they passed this, what was the effect it had? So again, you're seeing causation. Again, I'm not saying cause and effect here, but you can see the historical thinking skill causation being expressed here. Immediate response, right? How did they respond to them? So again, what was the effect on the American colonists? And let's see here, contributed to which of the following later. Again, here's another effect. So we can see here, in my opinion, that these 4 questions for this primary source document, it's primary source stimulus here, are all about causation. So these are the multiple choice questions. I'm not going to go through all of them. Really cool, though, that they have a practice one for you. So, if you ever want to try and check this out and come to it, totally cool. That's going to give you a total of, I guess, only 17 questions. Obviously, on the real day of the test, you're going to get a total of 55. Here are the short answer questions. Here's a couple of stimulus here, and here's those letters A, B, and C, right? So here's the word different. I see comparison. That wasn't mentioned here. This isn't really a historical thinking skill. This is really a content skill, right? Like, hey, you have to talk about an event, develop, or something that would support the idea. So it's really focusing on, do you understand his argument? And then this another one is, do you understand his argument? So this is really identifying your ability to read information and then use your historical knowledge from the class to support how you're able to read and identify these arguments in here. So there you go. They gave you one short answer question. Remember that on the day you'll have three, but they have letters A, B, and C in there that you have to answer, which are three specific answers or three specific questions for one question. So again, that's why I told you that I really feel like you have a total of 3 questions per question, and you have to do kind of like 9 questions, if that makes sense. You have to do 3 short answers, and you have to do letters A, B, and C. 3 times 3 is kind of like you're doing 9 different questions. DBQ, this is the document-based question. You're going to notice that you're going to have a total of 7 documents, and you are to use those 7 documents to construct an essay. And that essay usually will have the historical thinking skill. So here I see the word causes, so there's causation again. Again, hopefully I'm trying to help you see from our last time the idea of historical thinking skills and how they'll kind of show up on this test. So you'll read all these documents and create an essay. Again, let's not get too overwhelmed with that too much here. You have yet to even be taught by me how to do a lesson. Do a DBQ. So let's wait for the 2021 DBQ lesson plan. I think that'll help you a lot. And lastly, here are your long essay questions. And on the day of the test, you'll have questions 2, 3, and 4. You're like, why does it start with 2? Well, because theoretically, this is free response question number 1 right here, the DBQ. However, down here, you're going to have questions 2, 3, and 4, and you'll get a choice of 1. So in this case, you're only given a choice of question 2. But I just want to give you an overview, show you that on this exam, there are some sample documents. Another thing that's super cool is that on your guys's, on the website, tips, tricks, and resources, there is the textbook. And this textbook, the one that you have, and also this PDF guide that we have here, that will probably take a little bit of time to load since it's a lot of different pages. But at the end of each one of the periods, down at the very end, you'll notice that there's going to be some review questions for you. So this one's still in the introduction. Let me see if I can go a little bit further down and try to find it for you. Probably not. Oh, well, it came in. So if you come down at the end of each of these, you'll start seeing review questions, right? Multiple choice questions. Now, the only problem with these questions here is, in my opinion, they're kind of old and out of date, especially 2016. You don't really see these type of questions anymore. The structure is a good idea. We have the primary or secondary source. We have a couple of questions or multiple choice, but the style of the questions don't really fit up to the historical thinking skills. So although this is kind of good content practice, in my opinion, a lot of times these questions don't really resemble what you're going to see on the test in May. So I kind of keep away from it, but they can help you test, and they are just another great source of understanding the structure, right? Once again, here's a looks like a probably primary source written in 1928, and you have a total of 1, 2, 3 different questions, right? With there's A, B, and C to answer those. So on one stimulus. So there you go. Okay. All right, guys. Well, anyway, that's a quick overview of the course. And hopefully you understand a little bit more about how this is structured and how our class is going to help guide us to be successful on this test, and also a couple more places that you can get some review as well. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you soon.